Have you ever wondered how much of your life is shaped by noise that doesn't even belong to you? Not your voice, not your dream, not your truth, just noise. Every day the world tries to tell you who to be. Friends, family, strangers online, they all have something to say. They tell you what success should look like, what happiness should feel like, what steps you should take. And without realizing it, you start to bend. You try to fit in. You try to live up to standards that were never yours to begin with. But here's the thing. When you chase their version of success, you lose sight of your own. You forget who you are. You forget what matters to you. And one day you wake up and realize you've spent so much time looking outward you never truly looked inward. That's the danger of noise. It's not just loud, it's seductive. It makes you question your path. It makes you feel like you're behind, like you're not enough, like you should be doing more, achieving faster, living louder. But none of that pressure is coming from your soul. It's coming from the outside, from a world that doesn't know your battles, your scars, or your dreams. The more you absorb that noise, the harder it becomes to hear your own voice. And that voice, your voice, is the only one that matters, because it knows you. It knows what you truly want. It knows where your peace lives, where your power lives. This is where your journey begins, not with a shout, but with a silence. The kind of silence where you stop scrolling, stop comparing, stop explaining, and you start listening deeply to yourself. What do you want? Not what they told you to want, not what looks good to others, but what sets your soul on fire, what brings you peace at night, what makes you proud when no one's watching. When you start asking those questions, everything begins to shift. You no longer need their approval. You no longer chase validation. You chase alignment, purpose, truth. This isn't about being selfish. It's about survival. Because if you spend your life trying to please the world, you'll run out of yourself. And once you lose yourself, nothing else you gain will matter. The money, the status, the applause, it will all feel empty. But when you find your focus again, when you quiet the noise and come back to you, you start building something real, something lasting, something powerful. And that power, that's what will carry you to the finish line. So stay with this, stay present. Because the more you focus on you, the more the path becomes clear. And clarity is everything. This is your moment to shut out the world and turn inward. To reconnect with the only voice that can lead you to victory. Yours. Focus on you until you win. Because you will. And when you do, it won't be by accident. It'll be because you remembered who you are. When you finally start listening to yourself, really listening, there comes a moment that changes everything. It's the moment you realize no one else is responsible for your life. Not your past, not the people who hurt you, not the system, the circumstances, or the timing, just you. And while that truth may feel heavy at first, it's also the key to your freedom. Because once you take full ownership of your life, nothing can hold you back. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You stop hoping someone will come fix it for you. You stop making excuses, and instead you rise. You face the mirror and say, this is mine, all of it. The pain, the progress, the potential, all yours. That's not pressure, that's power. People who win aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refuse to let anything stop them. They didn't spend their energy blaming others. They didn't waste years waiting for fairness. They made a decision, a deep, unshakable decision to take back control. That kind of decision changes your posture. It changes your mindset. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, you ask, what can I do with this? That shift alone separates the ones who stay stuck from the ones who rise. Ownership gives you direction. It gives you focus. Because once you know it's all on you, you stop looking around and start looking within. This is where discipline begins, where action begins. Not because someone told you to move, but because you decided to move. Every time you take ownership, you chip away at the old story. The story that said you're a victim, that you're helpless, that your past defines you, but it doesn't. Only you do. Ownership allows you to write a new story, one where you are the hero, not the bystander. And heroes don't wait. They build, they push, they rise through the chaos, not because it's easy, but because they know no one else can do it for them. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's lonely. But it's also liberating, because with every step you take on your own terms, you gain momentum. You gain confidence. You start proving to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are in charge of how this ends. No one else gets to decide that. Not anymore. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to take responsibility for the next move. That next move is everything, and it starts now. No more blame, no more waiting, no more permission slips. This is your life, your time, your win, and it begins the moment you own it, completely, unapologetically, fearlessly focus on you until you win, because no one else can walk this path for you, and deep down, you know it's yours to walk. Own it, all of it. Once you take full ownership of your life, you start to see the real battlefield. And it isn't outside. It's in your mind. The thoughts you repeat, the doubts you feed, the fears you let grow. This is where most people lose, not because they aren't talented, not because they aren't capable, but because they believe the lies their own mind whispers when no one's watching. That voice that says you're not good enough, that you'll never change, that you'll always fall short. It doesn't shout. It creeps in quietly, and the more you listen, the more it controls you. But that voice is not truth. It's a pattern, a habit, a loop built over time by pain, failure, and fear. And like any habit, it can be broken. It must be broken. You were not born doubting yourself. You learned to. You absorbed the judgment, the criticism, the rejection, and somewhere along the way you turned it inward. But now you have a choice. You can keep letting those thoughts define you, or you can confront them, one by one, with truth. Because your brain doesn't care what's real, it believes what you tell it. If you feed it fear, it will grow fear. If you feed it power, it will grow strength. This isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about training your mind to stop magnifying the pain and start recognizing the fight in you. Every time you say, I can't, you shrink. Every time you say, I'm not ready, you pause your life. But every time you say, I will, something in you wakes up. Your thoughts shape your emotions shape your actions, and your actions shape your future. That's why mastering your mind is non-negotiable. You can have all the tools, all the talent, all the opportunities, but if your mind is against you, you will sabotage everything. You'll quit when it gets hard. You'll back down when it matters most. But when your mind is aligned with your purpose, you become unstoppable. You don't wait for motivation, you create it. You don't need external proof. You move from internal fire. The war in your head is real, but so is your power to win it. It starts by replacing fear with truth. I am enough. I can change. I will keep going. Say it until you believe it. Say it until your actions match it, because that's how transformation happens, from the inside out. You can't outrun a mind that's not on your side. So train it, lead it, own it. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You need to be intentional. You need to believe in yourself when no one else does. That belief, that mindset, that's what separates the winners from the watchers. Focus on you. Train your mind. And keep speaking life into your path. Because what you repeat becomes what you live. And if you want to win, you have to believe it before you see it. Once your mind starts to shift, everything else follows. But transformation doesn't arrive in a single moment. It's not sudden. It's not loud. It's built slowly, quietly, through choices no one else sees. The world celebrates the big wins, the breakthroughs, the spotlight. But the real work happens in silence. It happens when you do what you said you'd do, even when no one's watching. It happens when you show up, even when you don't feel like it. It happens when you keep going, even when it feels like nothing's changing. That's the truth most people miss. Progress is invisible before it's undeniable. It doesn't show up all at once. It shows up in layers, in tiny steps, in silent victories. And every small win matters because your brain tracks every promise you keep to yourself. Every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. That trust is powerful. It becomes your proof, your momentum, your inner confidence. You stop needing others to tell you you're capable because you've shown yourself that you are. One disciplined action at a time. That's how you change your identity. Not by wishing, not by waiting, but by doing the small things with excellence. Getting up when it's hard. Saying no when it's tempting. Choosing growth over comfort. These actions may seem small, but they are building something massive, your future. Most people quit because they're addicted to outcomes. They want instant results, immediate validation. But the winners, they're addicted to effort. They fall in love with consistency, They understand that mastery comes from repetition. It's not about doing one thing perfectly. It's about doing the right thing repeatedly, day after day, without applause, without shortcuts, just quiet, focused work. That's where strength is built, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the silent choices that no one sees, but you feel. Those moments shape you. They define your trajectory. Every time you choose effort over ease, you prove to yourself that you're serious. Every time you push through resistance, you remind your mind that you are in control. These choices add up, they compound, and eventually they become who you are. Not someone who wishes, someone who works, someone who keeps going, someone who wins, not by chance, but by choice. That identity is forged in discipline. It's carved out of small sacrifices. And once you become that person, nothing can take it from you. Don't wait for the big break. Don't chase the end result. Chase the process. Focus on doing the next right thing with everything you've got. And watch what happens. Momentum builds. Confidence grows. And one day the world will see what you already know, that you didn't get lucky. You earned it. You built it, one silent win at a time. Focus on you. Stay consistent. Trust the small steps. Because those steps become the path that leads you to everything you've been chasing. What you repeat, you become. And every single action, no matter how small, is shaping who you are right now. You are either moving closer to your power or further from it. There is no standing still. Every decision you make is either reinforcing a stronger version of yourself or keeping you stuck in the old one. The one that doubts, the one that waits, the one that breaks promises to itself. But here's the truth. You're not stuck because you lack ability. You're stuck because you keep hesitating when it's time to move. You keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling. But perfect doesn't come. Progress does. When you choose movement over hesitation, action over anxiety, forward over familiar, the only way to become who you're meant to be is to act like that person now. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Now, what does the strongest version of you do today? What do they think, speak, commit to, follow through on? You already have the blueprint inside of you, but too often you silence it. You let comfort win. You let fear talk you down. You shrink your goals to match your doubt instead of rising to meet your potential. That stops now, because nothing changes until you do, and change is not found in big leaps. It's found in brave, consistent steps taken by someone who's finally had enough of playing small. Your comfort zone may feel safe, but it's not your friend. It will protect your fears while it suffocates your growth. It will keep you stuck in patterns that feel familiar but bring no peace. It will tell you to slow down when life is asking you to rise. And if you listen to it for too long, it becomes your cage. But freedom, real freedom, is found on the other side of resistance. It's found when you choose discomfort on purpose. When you challenge yourself, stretch yourself, test yourself, that's where growth happens. That's where confidence is earned. Don't wait until you feel brave. Do it while you're scared. Do it with doubt in your chest and fire in your gut. Do it with shaky hands and an unshakable heart. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving anyway. And every time you move through fear, you weaken its grip. Every time you act with intention, you rewrite your identity. You become the person who no longer folds under pressure. The person who no longer lets feelings decide their future. The person who shows up regardless of how hard it gets. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next bold step, then the next and the next. Because momentum builds with movement and clarity comes with action. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep choosing growth over comfort. Keep becoming the version of you that doesn't just dream of winning, but demands it. Focus on you. Move forward. And don't stop until you do. There's a version of you that only exists on the other side of commitment. Not a half-hearted attempt, not a temporary try, a full, relentless commitment to who you're becoming. That kind of commitment changes everything. It silences excuses. It dissolves distractions. It gives you direction. Without it, you drift. You fall into cycles of starting strong, losing focus, and starting over. But when you commit with everything in you, you become dangerous to your old life. You no longer entertain the things that drain you. You stop tolerating habits that keep you small. You start moving like your future depends on it, because it does. Most people never get what they want because they keep one foot in and one foot out. They say they want change but still hold on to their comfort. They talk about growth but resist the discipline it takes to grow. You cannot become your future self while clinging to your past behaviors. You can't evolve by negotiating with your limits. You must decide fully that this is it. No more back and forth. No more almost. No more trying, just doing, just becoming, just showing up with a standard so high that your old self wouldn't even recognize you. Commitment is not about intensity for a moment. It's about consistency over time. It's waking up on the days you feel empty and still choosing progress. It's pushing through when motivation disappears. It's finding reasons to keep going when everything inside you wants to quit. That's where greatness is forged, not in how loud you start, but in how long you last. And you only last when your why runs deep, deeper than comfort, deeper than fear, deeper than circumstances. Your commitment must be stronger than your emotions, because emotions are temporary. They rise and fall. But your vision, your purpose, that must stay fixed. On the hard days, that vision is your anchor. On the silent days, that vision is your fire. And if you hold on to it long enough, everything begins to align. The discipline gets easier. The path becomes clearer. You begin to crave the grind because you know it's creating someone unshakable, someone who doesn't flinch under pressure, someone who doesn't fade when it gets hard, someone who finishes. That's who you're becoming every time you stay locked in, every time you resist distraction, every time you choose action over comfort. You are shaping a mindset that cannot be broken. You're becoming the type of person who doesn't just chase goals, but lives in alignment with them. And that alignment builds a life of power, purpose, and peace. One brick at a time, one choice at a time. You're not here to dabble. You're here to dominate your space. Not for anyone else, but for you. So commit completely and don't stop, because once you go all in, there's no limit to how far you can go. Focus on you, fully, until you win. When you truly commit to yourself, everything changes, not just around you, but within you. You begin to see the world differently. Not through the lens of limitation, but through the clarity of potential. You stop waiting for signs and you start becoming the signal. You no longer search for permission because you've given it to yourself. You no longer shrink in the face of resistance because you know resistance is proof that you're pushing into something greater. The moment you decide that your life is yours to shape, you stop reacting to circumstances and start rising above them. You take responsibility not just for what you do, but for who you're becoming. It's not easy. Nothing about growth is. Growth demands more from you than you think you have, and then asks for even more. It will stretch your limits. It will test your resolve. It will force you to meet every part of yourself, your strength, your weakness, your truth, your doubt. And that's exactly why most never follow through, because real change isn't comfortable. But comfort doesn't build character. Comfort doesn't teach you discipline. Comfort doesn't wake you up with fire in your chest. Discomfort does. Pressure does. Repetition does. That's what makes you sharp. That's what makes you focused. You don't get to excellence by doing what feels good. You get there by doing what's necessary. Every single day you face a choice. Be pulled by your feelings or be led by your vision. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions. You can't, not if you want to win. You need to wake up and move with intention. Speak with conviction. Act like everything you do matters, because it does. Your habits are building your future. Your focus is writing your reality. Your discipline is shaping your destiny. There will be days when your energy is low, days when doubt creeps back in, days when quitting feels easier than continuing. But quitting doesn't remove the pain. It only delays the progress, and you've come too far to fall back. You've already survived what was meant to break you. You've already carried yourself through storms that should have destroyed you. You don't need more strength. You need to remember who you are. You need to remind yourself why you started. You need to focus, not on how far you have to go, but on the step right in front of you. That step is everything. That step is how you build momentum, and momentum becomes power. When you move forward even a little, you signal to your mind that you're still in control. And that control over your focus, your time, your energy is how you rise. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to save you. This is your life, your vision, your responsibility. Don't waste another moment doubting. Don't waste another day distracted. Lock in, show up, keep building, and make the decision again and again to focus on you until you win. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you reclaim your power. You stop letting the outside world dictate your value. You stop waiting for praise, permission, or proof. You begin to understand that everything you need is already inside of you, buried under layers of doubt, fear, and noise. The more you cut out the noise, the clearer your inner voice becomes. And that voice, once you listen to it, becomes the most powerful guide you'll ever have. It knows what you're capable of. It knows what you've endured. It knows the greatness that still lies dormant inside you, waiting to be awakened by your courage to keep going. People will not always understand your grind. They won't always see your vision. They won't feel the weight you carry or the fire that drives you. But they don't have to. This path is yours. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about becoming someone you no longer have to lie to, someone who can look in the mirror and be proud of the choices being made. Not because they're easy, but because they're aligned, because they're honest, because they're building something that lasts, something no one can take away, the version of you that rises through discipline, not luck, through focus, not distraction, through consistency, not excuses. You weren't made to fit in. You weren't made to stay hidden, quiet, or small. You were built to rise, to stretch, to evolve. But evolution doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you choose growth again and again, even when it's painful, especially when it's painful, because pain reveals your gaps, and gaps reveal your growth potential. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Use it. Let it remind you that you're still alive, still capable, still willing to fight for the life you know you're meant to live. The more you focus on you, the less you'll need from anyone else. Not because you become cold, but because you become whole. You stop searching for validation. You stop chasing things that never fill the void. You realize your peace isn't out there. It's in your process. It's in your progress. It's in every moment you decide not to break, not to quit, not to settle. That strength becomes your identity. And when your identity shifts, everything else follows. Your habits change, your standards rise, your circle evolves. Not because you force it, but because you've become someone who simply moves differently. This is your reminder. Every time you stay locked in, you gain ground. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you make room for what will. Every time you show up with purpose, you multiply your power. You don't need more motivation. You need to stay committed to your focus. Eyes forward, mind clear, heart steady. You're not here to participate in life. You're here to dominate your lane. And that begins and ends with the decision to focus on you until you win. The most powerful transformation happens when you stop reacting and start creating. When you stop looking at your life as something happening to you and start treating it as something you are building, brick by brick, choice by choice. You are not here to survive the day. You are here to shape it, own it, lead it. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your decisions. And the moment you take full ownership of your future, everything begins to shift. The weight of excuses falls away. The need for approval disappears. The uncertainty turns into clarity because now you are in control. Not of everything around you, but of everything within you. And that's where real power lives. It's easy to feel like life is pulling you in 100 directions, but the truth is, you choose where your focus goes. You choose what gets your energy. You choose what thoughts you feed, what habits you repeat, what standards you live by. And with every choice, you are either investing in your growth or feeding your distractions. You're either building the future you dream about or delaying it with temporary comfort. There is no in-between. Every action you take is a vote for the person you're becoming. So ask yourself, what kind of person are you voting for? Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect. It's deciding that your goals deserve more than your excuses. It's realizing that your future deserves more than your comfort zone. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to say no to things that feel good now for things that pay off later. It's hard to stay focused when the world is loud and tempting. But the more you choose growth, the more natural it becomes. You begin to crave structure. You begin to seek out challenge. You begin to realize that the old version of you, the one who gave up easily, the one who needed motivation just to begin, is gone, replaced by someone who shows up no matter what. There is no secret path, no magic formula, just you showing up again and again, refusing to let circumstances decide your future. That kind of consistency rewires your mind. It makes you dangerous to anything trying to keep you small. You start carrying yourself differently. You stop settling. You stop over-explaining. You stop waiting. Because now your identity is caught up to your ambition. You no longer just want to win. You expect to. You no longer chase potential. You embody it. You've come too far to fall back into old patterns. You've sacrificed too much to be average. And you've already proven that you have what it takes to stay locked in. So don't look around. Don't compare. Don't doubt. Keep building. Keep rising. Keep choosing you. Your power multiplies the moment you fully claim it. And that happens the second you decide, this is who I am now, this is how I live. I focus on me until I win. There comes a moment when you stop doubting the process and start trusting your preparation. You stop second-guessing every step and start walking like it was always meant to be yours. That moment is when you realize you're not becoming someone new. You're finally stepping into who you were meant to be. And the silence that once felt like fear begins to sound like peace. The loneliness that used to feel like punishment starts to feel like power, because you understand now growth is not loud, it's not a show, it's quiet, intentional, relentless. It's happening when no one's watching. It's happening when you choose consistency over chaos, when you choose purpose over comfort, when you choose to stay locked in even when it's hard to believe you're making progress. The truth is, most people give up because they confuse movement with growth. They want fast results. They want visible change. But the strongest transformations are often invisible at first. They happen deep within, where your habits shift, your beliefs evolve, and your standards rise. That kind of growth doesn't announce itself. It builds in silence, it compounds daily, and it becomes unshakable. Because when you master your mind, everything else falls into place. Your focus sharpens. Your distractions lose their grip. Your goals stop feeling like wishes and start becoming your reality. You have to be willing to do the work when no one's clapping. You have to be committed when progress feels invisible. You have to push even when the rewards are distant. Because the moment you decide your life will be different is the moment your discipline must become stronger than your desire for ease. Strength is built in resistance. Confidence is built in repetition. Power is built in perseverance. You won't feel like showing up every day, but you must, because every day you show up is a message to the world and to yourself that you're not here to play small. You're not here to coast. You're here to rise. No one can hand you focus. No one can give you discipline. Or no one can force you to do the inner work. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And if you're waiting for perfect timing, you'll wait forever. The time is now, not when it's convenient, not when it feels easy, now. Right here, right where you are, with what you have as you are. Because greatness doesn't require perfection, it requires decision. It requires action. It requires you to stop negotiating with your limits and start executing on your potential. This is not just about goals. It's about identity. It's about choosing who you are every single day and proving it through your actions. You're no longer hoping things will change. You're becoming the change. You're no longer watching others win. You're building your own victory. Keep going. Keep trusting. Keep showing up. Because when your focus is unshakable, your future becomes undeniable. And that future belongs to the one who never stopped choosing to focus on themselves until they won. The moment you commit to becoming your highest self, everything that isn't aligned with that version of you begins to fall away. It's not always easy, it's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. You start letting go of habits that waste your time. You release relationships that drain your energy. You stop tolerating situations that shrink your spirit. And what's left is space. Space for discipline, space for peace, space for growth. That's where transformation begins. Not with noise, not with speed, but with clarity. You realize that chasing everything leads to nothing, but focusing fully on your evolution leads to everything you've ever needed. When your focus is scattered, your power is diluted. But when your focus is sharp, your impact becomes undeniable. Every task becomes intentional. Every move becomes strategic. You stop being busy and start being effective. You stop chasing validation and start building results. And that shift, that clarity, that sense of direction, it creates momentum that nothing outside of you can take away. That's how legacies are built. Not by wishing, not by waiting, but by showing up every day with vision, with discipline, with heart. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not luck, timing, or talent. It's the level of ownership you take over your focus. Most people lose not because they're weak, but because they're distracted. They're consumed by opinions, overwhelmed by comparison, addicted to comfort. But when you lock in, when you truly decide that your purpose matters more than your comfort, you stop playing small, you stop delaying, you stop negotiating with your excuses, and everything changes. Your greatest battle isn't with the world. It's with the voice inside that says, maybe I'm not enough. That voice is a liar. It's built from fear, from past wounds, from stories that no longer serve you. And the only way to silence it is through action, repetition, relentless focus. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, that voice gets quieter. Every time you choose growth over distraction, that voice loses power. Until one day, it's not even part of your decision-making anymore, because now your choices are built on belief, not doubt, on truth, not fear. You don't need to convince anyone of your vision. You just need to stay consistent with it. Let your focus be louder than your words. Let your discipline be stronger than your emotions. Let your growth speak for itself. Because the real reward isn't just the outcome, it's who you become in the process. The kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure. The kind of person who keeps their word to themselves. The kind of person who leads from within. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to take the next step. Keep your focus locked. Keep your standards high. Keep building. The world will catch up. You're not waiting to win. You're working until you do.